Now, taking that mid-spine, now we're going to add in some rotation. First, what you're going to do for this one, you're going to take yourself to a big hug position. Now, your goal here is to keep hips stable but relaxed. So I'm not going to lock my glutes squeezed here. Instead, what I'm going to rather do is get into, and I'm going to settle into my hips. So soft knees, soft hips. And from here, almost like if this was my spinning top, I'm going to almost roll one way and roll the other. Now, you want to keep your chin somewhat tucked here. Does not need to be a tight squeeze. This is just more or less to take away the external variables of your arms twisting if you were to do it that way. So again, from here, taking those same diets. So I'm trying to crunch my right ear down towards my right hip, rolling forward like my elbows are trying to poke towards my belly button. Rolling so my left ear is towards my left hip. Now here is where it's going to get, as far as cues go, you need to make sure you're safe for yourself. You don't want to be to a point where you're dumping your hips forward. So this back bend does not need to be big. If anything, you're maybe just coming to a tall standing position. You don't need to lean very far back. So again, it's one in one direction, taking those same steps on the other side. So left ear towards my left hip, elbows trying to poke through my belly button, trying to almost initiate a forward fold. Right ear towards my right hip, and then a little baby back bend. Again, you take 3 in each direction there. Next move is then going to be to your hips. So I like to bring my hands, pointer finger on the front of my hip, thumbs right on the back of my hip here, and you almost want to think of your hips as a bowl. So you can either have your bowl stationary, you can tip the water forward, or you can tip the water backward. If you like to play a little high stakes, maybe you can throw a little milk, a little alcohol, whatever your vice is in that bowl to make it a little bit more relatable to you. I love water, so I'm sticking with water. So again, you're going to take your hips as that bowl, pointer finger to the front of your hips, thumbs to the back of your hips here, and what you want to do is exercise dumping the water forward and dumping the water back. So from neutral, what you're going to do is tilt. So imagine your butt moving towards the back of your head, and then the opposite, trying to tuck your belly button up towards your chin. You take your second one on a long exhale, you're really trying to tilt your butt up without letting yourself lean forward. So it's really deriving from here, between these two portions is where all the movement's coming from. You then tilt backwards like you're trying to tuck your tailbone underneath your body. Butt can squeeze, that's absolutely fine. If you want to think of these two positions, if you've ever done a yoga, a cat camel, it looks very similar as far as what the lower portion of your spine is doing, taking that same principle and just applying it into standing. Again, it's still 3 forward and 3 backwards. Next, we're going to take ourselves into our knees, hips, and feet. So, for your hips, what you want to do is a quadruped or a standing circle. Now, from standing, what you want to do is make sure your whole structure is tall. I'm going to start on my left leg. So what it would be is knee is going to draw up towards the line of my hips. I try to open the gate as far as possible. Once I get to the limit where my leg can't move any further out, foot is going to draw back almost as if there's an imaginary wall or an imaginary hurdle to go over. I'm going to continue drawing this knee towards the back of my body. Foot is going to slide behind. Once I get my knee as far back as possible, without letting the rest of my structure change, it then tucks right back into place. It draws back up, and we're at the start. Same thing, we're going to go 1 in each direction to test the mobility. Second one, to gently exercise a little bit deeper joint articulation. And the third one, to really try and exercise your full joint mobility there. So on the way backwards, you're going to go from that same starting leg up position. You're going to go, heel is going to draw backwards, leg stays bent. You're then going to try and open that knee out to the side without letting your structure change position. Foot is going to stay relatively in the same spot. Once you get here, coming forward over that imaginary hurdle, trying to keep that knee up nice and tall until you come back to that starting position. Now I'll show you on my right side from the side. So, still taking that gentle approach, leg is going to draw on up. Once it gets to a point where I can't lift any higher, so hip flexor is recruiting as much as possible without leaning forward or backward, I'm then going to open out to that side open position. Once I hit that limit, leg is going to try and imaginary go over that hurdle. It tucks back under until that knee is underneath my body. I draw up to my start position and then retrace my steps. So foot draws backwards with my leg bent until I can't get it any further back. I then from there try to go back over that imaginary hurdle, so knee is going to open up to the side, leg stays parallel to the ground as much as possible, or lower leg does. Once I hit to that limit, We're gonna drop so the ankle stacks below my knee, reclose that gate, and then repeat, taking the same principle, 3 in each direction. Now, once you've gotten there, now we have our knee. If you've ever played hacky sack, if you wanna hit the little hacky sack or soccer, inside of your foot, outside of your foot. That same exact movement is going to happen here, but now we're gonna do it with our leg up and extended. Now, you can do gentle heel taps each time if you are uncomfortable staying on your one foot to balance that long. If it's comfortable, you can stay in this flexed leg position. I'll demonstrate both. So first is gonna be leg lifts up, and you're trying to tilt your heel as if it's trying to come to your opposite pocket. Then you would gently tap back down. Then you're gonna try and kick the outside of your heel to the outside of this pocket. You then draw back down and repeat. Second one is a little bit deeper. Third one, what you can do is really exercise and emphasize drawing it up and up and up and in. And the third as well. Now, with my left leg, I'll demonstrate if you chose to not let your foot drop at all. So this is gonna require the standing leg to work a little bit harder. Also get this hip capsule a little bit more readily prepared just because it doesn't get that time to rest. It's a little bit more time under tension. So with your foot elevated, now almost like how a grandfather clock or a metronome would swing, ankle, inside of the foot is gonna come towards that opposite hip. And then seamlessly, this outside of the foot is drawing to the outside of that pocket. Second, second, and the third one really exercising that limit, and exercising that limit, draw down. Final 2 pieces is going to be ankles. Now you can do it, pointed your toe out in front. You can also do it from this standing bent leg position. What it's going to be is, imagine like you have a pencil on the point of your big toe. And what we're going to do is imagine drawing a circle. So from front view, I'll do it with my foot extended forward, so hopefully you can see it here. This is my starting position. I'm going to try and towards my midline. I'm going to point my toe up towards the ceiling. Try to kick my toe out towards the left. Toe is going to drop down to the floor. Now I'm going to do exactly the same in the opposite direction. So pinky toe as far to the outside of my knee as I can. Toe is trying to point back at me up at the top. Big toe in towards the midline of the body, and then trying to almost dig my toe through the ground at the bottom. If you happen to get a foot cramp throughout, just shake it right on out. Now, if you choose to go from that bent leg position, leg is going to be bent up here. Same exact principle. So I'm going to try and tuck my big toe in towards my midline. I'm going to go down towards the floor like I'm trying to almost bring my toe behind me. Trying to tuck my pinky toe out towards the side. Toe comes back towards the top position. Now the biggest thing in this bent leg position, vertical shin the whole time. As you're going through, you aren't trying to let anything else move. You're trying to just focus on the ankle joint itself. So omitting movement anywhere else. Now, once you run through that full top of the head all the way down through your feet, your joints are now much more prepared to take on load. So now you can move to working on your soft tissue work or even progressing into further into your mobility routine or your training session in general. Thank you.